Hey, mama, if you're running on coffee, feeling foggy, exhausted, and already overwhelmed before the day even starts, you're not alone. So many moms are doing all the right things for their health and still feel tired, frustrated, and confused by all the noise out there. Hi, I'm Jerusha, holistic wellness coach, wife, and mom, and I've been there. I spent years in survival mode, relying on caffeine and willpower, wondering what was wrong with my body. Until God showed me something that changed everything. A woman's body isn't broken, it's beautifully designed to thrive. This is where we ditch the world's way of health, cut through the noise, and bust the myths that have kept women stuck and exhausted. Together, we'll uncover simple, life giving truths about women's health the way God designed it. So you can find clarity, hope, real energy, and confidence for motherhood and the calling God's placed on your life. If you're ready to rise into the health you were created for, you're in the right place. It all starts right now. Have you ever tried intermittent fasting and it just made you miserable? You're starving by mid morning, your head is pounding, maybe you feel shaky, nauseous, or weak. And somewhere around hour 10, you start wondering, what is wrong with my body? Maybe you've even thought, I guess fasting just isn't for me. Or worse, you assume it's a discipline problem. If you could just push through the misery, ignore the headaches, and power through the hunger, maybe you'd finally succeed at fasting. And for Christian moms, the struggle can go even deeper than that because fasting isn't just about health, it's also spiritual. So when your body seems to fight you every step of the way, you might start asking some painful questions like, why can other people fast, but I can't? Am I just weak? Does this mean my faith isn't strong enough? Mama, if you've ever felt that tension, you are not alone. For years, I avoided fasting for both physical and spiritual reasons. Physically, it made me feel awful, but practically, it felt impossible because fasting seemed like something people did when they could lay on the couch all day and pray. And let's be honest, as a mama, that was not my life. I had work to do, a house to clean, meals to cook, and little people with very big emotions to care for. I couldn't afford to spend a day feeling like I could barely function in the name of fasting, let alone multiple days or even weeks at a time. So at some point, I quietly decided God will just have to accept my service to my family as my sacrifice. And honestly, I think a lot of moms feel this way. But years later, after becoming a holistic wellness coach and studying how the body actually works, I learned something that completely changed my perspective. The truth is, fasting isn't supposed to make you feel miserable. It's true. And if it does, it usually means something important is missing. Because while fasting can be powerful for both our spiritual life and our physical health, it also needs to work with the body God designed. And as a women, our bodies are not designed the same way as men's bodies, which means fasting has to be done differently. So, today we're going to talk about why fasting feels miserable for so many moms, what's actually happening inside your body when fasting goes wrong, and how to fast in a way that supports your energy, hormones, and spiritual life instead of wrecking them. Because, mama, fasting shouldn't leave you laid out on the couch feeling sick. When done wisely, it can actually become one of the most peaceful and powerful rhythms in your life. There are some incredibly beautiful benefits of fasting for women. And here's something really important to understand. Fasting is not meant to feel like punishment. It's not meant to feel like you're forcing your body into submission or trying to prove how disciplined you are. When done wisely, fasting can actually be one of the most life giving rhythms a woman can experience because the benefits are profound. Physically, fasting can help support healthy weight loss, increase energy and metabolic efficiency, improve mental clarity and focus, activate cellular repair and healing processes, reduce inflammation and support disease prevention, improve insulin sensitivity and blood sugar stability, and support hormone balance when done in rhythm with your body. But what I find even more beautiful is this: God didn't just design fasting for physical benefit. He commanded and modeled fasting throughout scripture as a way to spiritually strengthen his people. Fasting has always been about realignment, realigning our focus, realigning our dependence, realigning our priorities. It quiets the noise of the flesh so we can hear him more clearly. And here's what's amazing: when we fast for spiritual reasons, something physical is still happening. Cells begin to repair, inflammation can decrease, blood sugar stabilizes, the body begins to use stored fuel more efficiently, aka burning fat. In other words, spiritual obedience often produces physical healing. And I truly believe God designed it that way. But I also want to say gently here because this matters. When you choose to fast, it's important to establish your reason beforehand. Are you fasting for spiritual growth, or are you fasting for physical health goals like weight loss or metabolic healing? Both can be valid, but they are not the same. And I don't think it serves our hearts well when we say we're fasting spiritually when what we really want is a smaller pant size. There's nothing wrong with wanting to steward your health well. There's nothing wrong with wanting to lose weight or improve energy. But clarity matters. Because when we bring honesty before the Lord, we remove shame and confusion. And here's the freeing truth: even when you fast spiritually, your body will still experience physical benefits. And even when you fast physically, there is often a spiritual sharpening that happens as well. Fasting touches the whole person, body, soul, and spirit. That's part of what makes it so powerful. So, if fasting can be this beautiful and powerful, why does it feel so awful for so many women? Let's talk about what's actually going wrong. One of the biggest reasons fasting feels miserable for moms is something we rarely talk about honestly: stress load. Fasting is actually a form of healthy stress, just like working out. It's meant to be a gentle signal to the body that says, hey, let's become more efficient. Let's repair. Let's clean house. And if you've ever had a super clean house and just basked in the glory of that peace that it brought you, you know how wonderful that feels. And your body wants to do the same thing when you fast. It wants to clear out the cobwebs, bring in some fresh air, and make the whole place feel amazing. But if your stress bucket is already overflowing, adding fasting can cause everything to spill over. And let's be real about what life looks like for many moms. You may already be running on too little sleep, too much mental load, constant noise throughout the day, whether it's from around you or from within with what's going on in your brain. Maybe you never feel like you really get to finish a task and you're just bouncing between things all the time. And you might feel like your nervous system never fully powers down. High cortisol can keep your body stuck in survival mode. And when you're in survival mode, your body is not prioritizing deep healing. It's prioritizing getting you through the day. One of the biggest casualties of high cortisol is restful sleep. And that matters because a huge amount of hormone regulation and cellular repair happens at night. Fasting can activate repair pathways, but if you're not sleeping well and stress is sky high, your body may not fully step into that healing state. Instead, fasting can make you feel wired but exhausted, anxious, shaky, emotionally thin. or completely drained by mid afternoon. This is why I talked in more depth in episode 69 about how small daily steps to lower cortisol can dramatically change a woman's health. So if you missed that episode, go back and listen to it. Fasting works best when your body feels safe, not when it already feels under attack. So, if you are living in a high stress state all the time, you need to bring your stress levels down so your body can step out of survival mode and into healing mode. Another major blockade to being able to fast well is insulin. If you've been snacking all day, living on refined carbohydrates, or constantly reaching for something sweet just to stay functional, there's a good chance your insulin levels have been running high. And this makes fasting incredibly difficult because the whole purpose of fasting is to allow your body to tap into stored fat and use it as fuel. This is where fasting can become powerful for women. When the metabolic switch happens and the body begins burning fat efficiently, many women experience incredible mental clarity, steady energy, reduced cravings, real progress with weight loss, and a sense of empowerment instead of deprivation. But if insulin is elevated, the body struggles to make that switch. It's like having plenty of stored fuel, but not being able to access it. So instead of feeling fueled during a fast, you feel like you're literally starving yourself. You might feel weak or have a headache that just won't go away. You might feel foggy or like you're counting the very minutes until you can eat again. This is why when I coach clients, I almost always address insulin and blood sugar stability before we ever push into longer fasting windows, because my goal is to help you steward your health well, not to make you suffer. This is a huge missing piece of the puzzle for so many women. And we actually dived more into this topic in just the last episode. So if you missed that, go back and listen to it about weight loss blocker number 2, insulin, because there's so much good information in there. Regardless of whether you want to lose weight or not, it will be an enlightening conversation for you. Next, we need to talk about nutrition because many moms are trying to fast on a foundation that is already cracked. If your typical day looks like coffee instead of breakfast, a handful of crackers, or your kids' leftovers for lunch, maybe a protein bar or shake when you finally realize you're starving, or a rush dinner eaten while cleaning up the kitchen, Mama, I have news for you. Your body is not entering fasting from a place of strength. It's entering fasting already depleted. In episodes 66, 67, and 68, we just talked about how healing your metabolism in motherhood is deeply connected to nutrient density. Fasting is not just about removing food. It's about giving your body the tools it needs to function well when food isn't coming in so that it can do the healing and the deeply beneficial cleaning and repair that's going on inside your body. But in order to get the benefits of all those things, you need nutrition to power that happening in the first place. When meals are built with real protein, fiber rich plants, and healthy fats, something shifts. Blood sugar becomes more stable, hunger becomes more manageable, energy lasts longer, and many women are shocked to discover that when they start eating deeply nourishing meals, their fasting capacity increases almost automatically. Their misery decreases, their desperation decreases, and their confidence increases. Not because they're forcing themselves harder, but because their body is finally supported. So, if fasting has felt miserable for you, it may not be because you're weak or undisciplined. It may simply be that your body hasn't been given what it needs yet. And if you want to know more about the nutrition that your body needs as a woman to thrive, go back and listen to those episodes I just mentioned. Now, let's talk about another major mistake many women make with fasting. They follow a standardized fasting schedule. Maybe their husband is doing intermittent fasting. Maybe they heard a podcast that said, just fast 16 hours every day. Maybe they downloaded an app that tells them when to eat and when to stop. And here's the problem: most mainstream health advice is built around male physiology. Your husband's hormones run on a roughly 24-hour rhythm. He's what I like to call steady Eddie. He can find a fasting pattern that works and repeat it day after day with fairly predictable results. But as a woman, your hormones run on a monthly rhythm. You are not meant to do the same thing every single day. Trying to fast the exact same way all month long can actually create more stress in the body and throw your hormones out of balance because you have different hormonal environments throughout the month. There are times when estrogen is rising. This hormone can actually prime your body to thrive in fasting. In fact, many women naturally notice that they feel energized, focused, and metabolically strong if they're fasting in this phase. Then there are phases where progesterone becomes more dominant. During this time, your body is often asking for more nourishment, more stability, and more gentleness. So, trying to push aggressive fasting during this window can lead to intense fatigue, cravings, mood swings, poor sleep, and feeling like fasting suddenly stopped working. And then there is a unique window each month, often about 5 days, when many women feel absolutely terrible trying to fast. If you've ever fasted and felt like you were literally falling apart, like your body was screaming at you, like you were suddenly so weak and nauseous that you became incredibly discouraged or even emotionally overwhelmed, there's a good chance you tried to fast during this hormonal peak window. During this time, sex hormones are high and the body is already doing a tremendous amount of internal work. Because these hormonal shifts are happening, your body is naturally pulling toxins out, pushing them into the bloodstream, and you kind of have this flush of toxins coming into your body. But fasting can also increase detoxification pathways. So, when these two processes overlap, the body can feel flooded with toxins all at once. So, instead of experiencing clarity and energy, you may feel completely drained, inflamed, discouraged, defeated, or maybe like you are literally just dying. This isn't failure, it's feedback, mama. As a women, we are designed to live in rhythm. And before you can honor your body, you have to understand it. These hormonal patterns for women is one of the core frameworks I teach in my personal coaching, helping women understand their hormonal patterns so they can fast and live and eat and move in a way that actually supports their health long term is one of my greatest passions. If you want to learn more about working with your hormones instead of against them, make sure to check out the links in the show notes below. I have coaching opportunities, I have free one on ones that you can do with me if you're interested, and I would love to talk to you about your individual health and answer any of your questions. So, what does fasting actually look like when we do it wisely as women? Let's build a simple roadmap you can start using today. Step one is stabilize before you restrict. Before you ever lengthen a fasting window, your first goal is stability. This means building meals that help your body feel safe and fueled. Think real protein, fiber rich plants, healthy fats. This combination helps stabilize blood sugar so your body can gradually learn to access stored fuel. If you're currently living on coffee, snacks, quick carbs, or processed protein products, yes, I'm talking to you, protein bars, protein shakes, jumping straight into long fasts is going to feel miserable. Support your metabolism first. When the body feels nourished, fasting becomes dramatically easier. So start with your diet first. Step two is to start with an overnight fast. You do not need to begin with a 16-hour fast. In fact, for many women, that's far too aggressive at the beginning. Start with something gentle and sustainable. A 12 to 13-hour overnight fast is a powerful place to begin. For example, if you finish dinner or maybe even your last snack around 7 p.m., then you would wait until about 7 or 8 to eat breakfast. This alone can improve insulin sensitivity, digestion, and energy regulation. Consistency matters more than intensity, mama. And once you feel like you can do that well, start pushing back those time frames by 30 minutes at night and 30 minutes in the morning until you feel like you can comfortably fast without being hungry. Step three is lower sugar before you lengthen fasts. If sugar intake is high, fasting will feel so much harder because the body becomes used to quick fuel. Reducing sugar helps lower insulin levels and makes it easier for your body to transition into fat burning. Now, this doesn't mean perfection, but it means gradually shifting toward whole foods, balanced meals, and fewer constant snacks. Many women find that once sugar intake drops, hunger during fasting decreases significantly, and this will help you feel 100 times better. Step four is to support electrolytes and hydration. One of the most overlooked fasting mistakes is not supporting electrolytes. When insulin drops during fasting, the body releases more sodium in fluids. This can contribute to headaches, dizziness, fatigue, and weakness. Simple support can make a huge difference. This might look like adding a pinch of mineral salt to water, drinking herbal teas, and staying intentionally hydrated. Sometimes what feels like fasting misery is simply electrolyte depletion. If you are getting headaches during fasting as well, you will be incredibly surprised at how much electrolytes will help you. It may not be the only reason you're getting headaches, but that is my number one go to. Step five is fast in rhythm with your hormones. This is where fasting truly becomes powerful for women. You are not designed to fast the same way every single day. There will be phases in your cycle when fasting feels natural, energizing, and productive. And there will be phases when your body needs more nourishment. Instead of forcing the same schedule all month, learn to adjust. Longer or more intentional fasting during metabolically strong phases, and shorter fasts or even no fasting during hormonally demanding windows. This rhythmic approach protects hormones while still allowing you to experience the benefits of fasting. Step six is extend gradually, not emotionally. Many women extend fasting windows out of frustration or urgency. I just need results. I'll push harder. I'll skip another meal. But fasting works best when it's built gradually. Let your body show you when it's ready. Signs you may be ready to extend a fast include stable energy in your current window, reduced intense hunger, improved mental clarity, better sleep, and recovery. Remember, this is not a race. It's a relationship with your body. And if you can build a healthy fasting schedule, you don't need to be fasting for 3 days straight. If you build healthy intermittent fasting in your body, this is something you can carry with you long term that will benefit you not only physically, but spiritually as well. Which brings me to step seven, keep the spiritual purpose clear. If you are fasting for spiritual reasons, anchor your heart there. Use hunger as a reminder to pray. Use quiet moments to listen. Use the rhythm of fasting to realign your focus. If you are fasting for physical health, be honest about that too. Both are valid forms of stewardship, but clarity removes shame and confusion. And often, when fasting is done wisely, the benefits touch both body and spirit. Fasting doesn't have to feel miserable. When done in rhythm with your biology and anchored in wisdom, it can become one of the most strengthening practices in your life as a woman and as a mom. But before we wrap up, I want to offer a small but important word of wisdom because fasting can be incredibly powerful, but it's not always the first or best step for every woman in every season. There are times when the body is already under so much stress that adding fasting can actually slow healing instead of supporting it. For example, if you are severely sleep deprived, deeply burned out, or chronically overwhelmed, struggling with blood sugar crashes or extreme fatigue, undernourished, or unintentionally skipping meals already, pregnant, postpartum, or breastfeeding, recovering from illness or significant hormonal imbalance. If any of these describe you in this season, your body may need stability and nourishment first. Sometimes the most faithful and healing thing you can do is not to remove food, but to rebuild strength first. There is wisdom in preparing your body before asking it to take on the challenge of fasting. And there is also grace. God is not measuring your faith by how long you can go without eating. He sees the full picture of your life, your caregiving, your exhaustion, your healing journey. Fasting can be a beautiful rhythm, but timing matters. If fasting has felt miserable, it may simply be a sign that your body needs support first. And that's not failure. That's an invitation to build a stronger foundation. Mama, if fasting has felt miserable for you in the past, I hope today's conversation has lifted a weight off your shoulders. Because the truth is, fasting was never meant to be a miserable experience that leaves you weak, discouraged, or questioning your discipline or even your faith. When we understand our bodies and fast in rhythm with the way God designed us as women, fasting can actually become one of the most powerful practices for both physical and spiritual health. Physically, fasting can help your body improve metabolic flexibility, stabilize blood sugar and insulin, tap into stored fat for fuel, support healthy weight loss, activate cellular repair processes, reduce inflammation, sharpen mental clarity and focus, and restore energy that many moms feel like they've lost. But fasting was never only about physical health. Through scripture, fasting has always been a way for God's people to draw closer to Him. It's a rhythm that quiets the noise of life and helps us realign our hearts and our bodies. It reminds us that we depend on God, not just for our spiritual life, but for our daily strength. And when fasting is done with wisdom and grace, something beautiful happens. That same rhythm that strengthens us spiritually can also strengthen us physically. And that is not an accident. That is God's divine provision for you. God created our bodies with incredible wisdom. And when we begin to align with that design, we often discover that healing becomes much more accessible than we once believed. So, Mama, if fasting has felt impossible before, don't write it off completely just yet. Instead, get curious. Ask your body what it needs. Focus on nourishment. Lower stress where you can. Stabilize blood sugar and learn to work with your hormones instead of against them. You may find that what once felt miserable becomes something surprisingly empowering. And remember, fasting is not a competition. It's not about how long you can go without food. It's about creating space to strengthen both your body and your relationship with God. Even small rhythms can make a powerful difference over time. If you want help learning how to apply these principles in a way that works for your unique body and season of life, that's exactly what I help women do inside my coaching. We focus on understanding your metabolism, your hormones, and the rhythms that allow your body to thrive naturally. If that sounds like something you'd like support with, you can find more information in the link in the show notes. Wherever you are in your health journey today, remember this: your body was not designed to constantly struggle. It was created with an incredible capacity for restoration. Sometimes we simply need to learn how to work with the design and the body God gave us, even if your only desire to fast has been spiritual and not health based or focused on weight loss. Learning to steward the body God gave you can actually bring your body into greater alignment with your spirit. And when your body is supported, your capacity to engage in spiritual rhythms like fasting often increases. Mama, you were created for wellness in body, soul, and spirit. And every step you take toward living in the way God designed you to thrive is an act of honoring Him. Mama, my prayer is that today's episode reminded you that your health matters to God and that caring for your body is part of living out who He created you to be. When we place our hope in Him and lean into His design for women's health, we don't just feel better. We stop guessing, stop striving, and begin moving forward with confidence and purpose. We're not chasing perfection here. We're learning how to live well with wisdom and grace in the bodies God gave us. And as you grow in that understanding, you grow in confidence to live in the fullness of who you were created to be. If this conversation left you feeling encouraged and supported in your health, I'd love for you to leave a rating and review. We're not talking about health the way the world does, and your voice helps build this mission of empowering women to steward their health with faith, confidence, and truth. Make sure you're subscribed so we can keep walking this journey together. You're not in this alone. And keep going, Mama. Every small step you take today is leading you toward the healthier, more vibrant life God created you for. I'm cheering you on.